chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Would it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerrick at the line.
Of one of the biggest races, if not the biggest race on the iRacing service annually. We have a little bit of a prelude. These IndyCar IR18s will head their way to perhaps one of the shortest road courses on the service, Lime Rock Park. But I think, well, most of these drivers will still be thinking about that huge race on Saturday, which of course is the iRacing VRS GT World Championship, but there we go. I'm just kidding. Isn't there some 500-mile race going on in Illinois at some point? Oops, sorry. I got the state wrong. I blew it already. I know it's in Indianapolis, okay? We are at Lime Rock Park, and I have the state abbreviation right in front of me, so I can't get that wrong. It's in Connecticut, Lakeville, Connecticut, USA. And wow, look at those lap times. Sub 40 seconds. And those are the sort of times that get posted on oval courses, let alone a road course. Yes, while we get that issue sorting out with Will's microphone, we're just drawing towards the end of qualifying here. You've just got the rest of your drivers in their way through to complete their final laps. We're still waiting for the number one of Mark Usher to get a qualifying time posted on the board. But right now, it doesn't look like he is going to have time. So the number one driver, technically the highest I-rated driver in your entire field, will have to start P number 19 right at the back of the grid today. And well, we've got about a minute on qualifying in this one. Currently it is Kazuki Umashima out there on pole position, so the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix driver making a big statement in the other open wheel car, shall we say. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Japanese driver. We've also got Michele Constantini, Richard Arnault lining up themselves on the second row. You've got Henry Bennett and Johan Harth bringing things down to P number 6 as well. Mark Fangman starts himself P number 7. You've got Mikael Cado, you've got Pierre Verton, and you've got Marco Acidiacono rounding out your top 10. Then further back through the field, you've got Oliver Dean, you've got Gabriel Martin Alfredo, you've got Andreas Eick, you've got Liam Quinn as well, who could potentially do some damage in that 500 race. You've got Miguel Sanchez there as well. Ricky Gerhardt lines herself up in P number 16. You've got Yuri Baskop, Charles Bacco, and Mark Usher will have to start right at the back of that field, Will.
Yep, I am back, so apologies for that one. And I might as well just say it again, Connie. Indianapolis 500 in Illinois. What's wrong with you?
Indiana.
There we are.
Indiana.
Oh, yeah. We're good for the time being. But 67 laps here today. It's 99.5 miles. One thing I was going to try and say, Connie, the lap times here are faster than a lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at full tilt.
Yeah, it's just absolutely impressive how fast these cars go around this circuit, and it's quite slow in terms of the weather as well. Track temperature 44 degrees Celsius, so that is scorching hot in iRacing terms, so perhaps tyre wear might be a little bit of an issue going into the later stages of the stint. But soon, that iRacing roof pace car will pull off of the grid. Right there, we'll get a full pace lap. Just allows your drivers to get those tyres up to temperature, Will.
It does indeed. And of course, for those of you wondering, when we come off there, we're going to take about a 20-minute break later on. And then we're going to give you the last few qualifying sessions for the iRacing Indianapolis 500, the 9th annual. You know one thing, Connery? I realize this is my 6th year of commentating this event.
You are an absolute veteran, and you're going to get one more as well, and hopefully many more to come. We've had some fantastic Indianapolis 500s in the past, so just to reiterate, we've had also very, very, very close finishes as well, heading their way across the line. So maybe something like that can happen once again for the 2018 iRacing Indianapolis 500. But before that, we have this race to get through, this very, very fast-paced lap around Lime Rock Park. Currently, of course, it's not quite fast-paced because they're under the pace car, but we'll get this one started shortly. 67 laps, one scheduled pit stop expected for your drivers at the moment, as they're coming down towards where they go down the hill towards the final corner now. And if any of you watch Monday Night Skippies, of course, on a Monday night, you'll see this is where Fahim Adenides crashed with a bit of lap traffic from the lead. Hopefully these drivers won't have too many concerns with the lap traffic here, as that car will decide to dive its way down on towards the lane right about now. And Kazuki Umeshima, he goes immediately with green flag racing here at Lime Rock Park. Instant move down towards the inside for P number 2 from Constantini. Almost a little bit of wheel banging there with Zach Campbell, but Constantini will get himself in towards P number 2. Everyone else gets single file relatively quickly, heading through this tight and twisty first sector. Is heading down the hill now towards the little kink and towards that treacherous crest as they try to lift over the top of this one. And sometimes the cars literally lift up. As I'm looking back through the field, it's Johan Half currently all over the back of Henry Bennett there, of the number 6, coming through the final corner. And there we go, we've already completed the lap as Johan Half takes a trip through the dirt.
67 laps here in this iRacing Verizon IndyCar Series race. Kazuki Umeshima, 1.2 second advantage over Michele Constantini. One thing that's worth noting, though, this mid-pack, we saw a lot of drivers then go off the final corner, Conway. Incident limits will be a big thing here today.
Absolutely huge. You have 67 laps, and of course, if you go off track for, what's going to be 17 of them, then you're going to get disqualified for going over the instant limit. But looking at what is currently the battle for P number 3, Zach Campbell trying to defend from the driver of Richard Arnaud of that race clutch team, but Arnaud not really being able to do anything. He did get close coming through the middle of that last lap, but believe it or not, we're on lap number 3 already. These laps are ticking by very, very quickly. They're doing sub 40-second lap times.
They are indeed, and Lime Rock Park is one that has very fast lap times, very short lap times. All but one corner at this racetrack, Connery, is a right-hander, so it is literally complete opposite to what we're going to see tomorrow. As Marco Isidiakono right now, he's moved up one position. He's off actually then as he runs himself down to the second to last corner. He had P number 9. He might well start losing that there. And, well, Marco Isidiakono now really in a bit of danger.
That's probably the first time of many that we'll see someone get very, very loose over the crest of the hill. But Zach Campbell has managed to get himself back into P number 2. There goes Richard Arnaud. That race clutch car hits the barriers. And I think that was just a little bit of oversteer coming off of turn number 2. Car not settled. Hello, tyre barrier.
Yeah, replay on board. Through turn number 1. Turn number 2. back end steps out there. And we're going to see a lot of that here today, that back end stepping out, because that turn 1 and 2 is very slippery. And a lot of people, when they come into iRacing for the first time, Conway, this is one of the first tracks that they go to. It's also one of the first lessons they learn, that outside that concrete, in turn 1 and 2, it's slippery.
It can be, and it also has implications in terms of drivers trying to go too wide through that particular corner. There is a difference in the racing surface through there that you do have to be aware of, but in terms of this race as it is right now, lap number 5, Kazuki Umeshima leads the way by quite a considerable margin as well. 3.3 seconds the last time they headed the way across the line. Then you've got Constantini, P number 2, Zach Campbell, P number 3, but here comes the move potentially for Campbell down in towards turn number 1. He got close, but decided not to dive down the inside at this moment in time. But looking back, oh, the number 1 is in trouble there. Just dropping like a stone down the timing boards.
Right.
And that was just coming off of, whoa, that's a huge incident coming off the final corner. Car just broke away.
Yeah, on board then Remark Usher on the replay. Oh, that's a huge hit there, Connery.
Absolutely huge. I shall be very, very thankful that this is just simulated rather than the real thing. Otherwise, that'll be a pretty expensive car to repair and probably pretty expensive medical bills from that one as well. But he will be definitely retiring from the race. In fact, he has already gone 1 lap down. That's how fast this race is going by. But battle for P number 2 still rages on between Constantini and Zach Campbell. And I think Constantini, correct me if I'm wrong here, Will, I think he's secured inside of the top split in qualifying for the Indianapolis 500, so he has his sights set on tomorrow. But right now for this race, he's been doing very well as Zach Campbell. Whoa, that was very loose. Yeah,
and we've also had a driver off behind, Mark Fangman, as well. We'll talk about Michele Constantini in a moment, because actually it's a fascinating story about Constantini, but we're going to have a look at Fangman first. We hope, there we are, on board right now with Mark Fangman and the number 2 DH machine. It's actually going to be pretty big then in terms of I-rating, Connie, because of the fact that Fangman, number 2 I-rated driver, loses the back end, slides off into the grass, and I think when he comes back on, he just retires that car.
Yeah, decided that maybe the race had completely gone from there and decided not to continue. So that means both your highest I-rated driver and your second highest I-rated driver are currently occupying the bottom 2 spots. So there's a lot of I-rating to potentially be gained here.
It's May, right?
From your drivers. Potentially it may be. But right now, Kazuki Umeshima, he's just outclassing the field, really bringing that knowledge over from the Formula 1 car over into the IndyCar. Of course, they are completely, well, not completely different cars to drive, but you can apply some things you learn in the F1 car to the IndyCar because, of course, they're both high downforce open wheel machines.
Yeah, you say that, but Michele Constantini, of course, is a veteran in the iRacing IndyCar series. And we talk about Constantini, there's 2 drivers really we want to pay attention to here today. Michele Constantini, in fact 3, Henry Bennett and Liam Quinn. All 3 of these drivers are those who have a chance at winning the 9th annual iRacing Indy 500. And, well, Connery, you know me very well. I never say there's a favourite going in. I never say there's one driver who has a chance to win, because there's always about 10 who have the chance to win the iRacing Indy 500. And we've seen that over the years, mainly because no driver has ever won the big dance twice.
Yeah, and I saw the poll you put up on the RaceSpotTV Facebook page, and it seems like the public thinks that trend will continue. So the public wants or expects a new winner of the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow. We'll see if that one happens, but looking at this one, looking through for battles down through the field, you have a good group of cars here battling for P number 10. You've got Miguel Garcia Sanchez here, Gabriel Martin Alfredo, and Liam Quinn as well. And Quinn is a driver that also is looking to compete in that 500.
Yep, and Quinn's doing a pretty good job right now. P number 12. But trying to work himself up through the field. And for a lot of drivers, this is what they like to call their throwaway or their drop week, Connery, because it is such an unusual track. And a lot of drivers right now get that Indy fever by the end of June. I mean, next time we are here, of course, in Friday Night Prime Time, it will be at Indy. A lot of drivers will be burnt out by then. So for those drivers doing the championship, 2 weeks in a row, when you can really get some good race results.
Could well be looking at the strength of field, it's looking at 3,800, so good championship points on offer right now. Could boost you up the standings quite far, but the points leader right now is Michele Constantini, and he's running P number 2, so he's looking to extend his lead at the top of the championship. But he has Zach Campbell right hot on his heels here in this one. Not really letting Michele get away here is Zach Campbell, so is very, very impressive from the number 8, but very, very good speed out the final corner for Zach Campbell. Looks towards the inside, but it was just a little bit of a dummy to perhaps scare Constantini into making a mistake. Through turns number 1 and 2 they go, and then into the only left-hander on this circuit, and it's a pretty easy one as well. Onto the slightly cambered right-hander, just after it, running down the hill now towards the kink. He can't really pull off a pass here. Lift as you go over the crest, make sure that that car is planted to the ground. You don't want to be catching air over the top of the hill, especially in these cars. Zach Campbell runs a little bit wide though, coming through the right-hander on the top of the hill, through the final corner now, and that is pretty much a lap of Lime Rock Park.
It is indeed as well. We'll say one thing. Kazuki Yamashima, if he's going to be that fast here, we need to give a little circle around him for the next round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. That'll be at Watkins Glen International. And a lot of people say, what are you doing comparing Watkins Glen to Lime Rock Park? There are quite a few similarities, Connery. The bankings in the corner, the camber, and also the fact that it's one of those tracks that I like to call a momentum racetrack.
Yeah, exactly. Not many of these corners, or in fact none of these corners, are stop-start. The only heavy braking zone is coming down in towards turn number 1, and that of course isn't really the slowest of slow corners either. So you really need to get into a rhythm. You really need to take the momentum through all of the medium and high-speed corners on this racing circuit to be anywhere near competitive. But in terms of P number 2, looks like 4 drivers are within a second here. Michele Constantini, Zach Campbell, Henry Bennett, and Johan Hath. Actually, those are 2 different packs of cars that are fighting right now. So that is what we have to be concerned about. Henry Bennett up 1 position right now, up into P number 4 from P number 5 on the grid. He's currently trying to defend from Johan Hath. Hath caught 0.2 of a second that last time.
Yeah, and we're actually having a look on board your race leader, Kazuki Umeshima, because Connery, lap traffic is in play already here today. Kazuki Umeshima works himself past 2 drivers at last lap. He's got to now work himself past another driver in towards turn number 3. We talked about that in terms of the only left-hand corner on track, and this will actually hurt him a little bit. Michele Constantini can gain a little bit of time, but Road Atlanta syndrome kicks in here. You lose some time, you gain some time. Don't overdrive the car.
That is absolutely imperative. Luckily for Kazuki, though, he has a little bit of clear air because number 18, the next bit of lap traffic down the road, has just come through turn number 2 right now. So he has a little bit of breathing room to get himself back inside his clear air pace. But the thing is, the battle for P number 2 and the battle for P number 4 has yet to hit this traffic. And in fact, Constantini is hitting it right about now, coming through turn number 2. And this is perhaps one of the worst places to do it, is down towards the inside through 3 he has to go. Campbell also follows him through on that one, so that wasn't as bad as it perhaps could have been. Let's see how they negotiate the next 2 cars now, Will.
Yep, as they work themselves up the hill, let's go back on board the driver. Campbell gets wide there, and that's the thing. It doesn't take much then. It's all based upon the RPM as you come up over the hill. That RPM too high in that delicate zone, as we talk about in the IR05 and in the DW12, Connery, if it's in the wrong RPM zone, it's going to be a pain to drive.
It is. Coming over the top of that hill, all the weight just goes up in the air, so to speak, so there's not much weight on those rear tires, and if they're spinning at a high RPM, the engine's spinning at a high RPM.
Marco Sidiacono.
There, yeah, Sidiacono. He's running into issues, slow out the final corner, actually brings it down on towards the lane, and I think that's just a single car spin coming out of the final corner. He did clip the grass a little bit on entry, but that he gets on the bumps on the outside of the corner. You just see how it upsets the car.
Yep, well, he runs off wide a little bit first, and they run into the corner, and that's what causes the first bit of the issue. Now, he doesn't only graze a tyre barrier, but it does look as though he is going to be classified as out of the event so far. Having a look, though, on board of Johan Hath right now, he's not doing a bad job in P number 5.
Not a bad job at all, but he is looking for more. He again gained around about half a second over Henry Bennett last time, so the pace does seem to be with Johan Harth at this moment in time. We're around about 20 laps in right now, so we're going to be about 15 laps away from pit stops at least. So middle of the stint, going on to late in the stint here. That's when Johan Harth starts to come alive. But can he do anything about Henry Bennett ahead of him? That's one of the veterans in this IndyCar, but hasn't really had all that many great performances here on the RaceSpotTV Friday primetime side of things. So hopefully he can remedy that on this one. P number 4 would be a fantastic finish when all is said and done, but not all is said and done, Will.
Yeah, and Connery, I will say one thing as well. Henry Bennett, of course, been such a big factor in the classic IndyCar series over the last couple of years. He knows how to drive an IndyCar, but there's a big difference between the IR05, the DW12, and the IR18. I will say one thing, that Bennett has adapted well, but he's still, in my opinion, got a little bit of work to do to really be able to fight it with the big guys in the big races.
Yeah, and we can just see that, especially in these road course races, he's always battling vaguely near the front when it comes to the oval races, but in terms of these road courses, it certainly seems to be a little bit of a weakness here for Bennett, as we haven't seen many standout performances on RaceSpotTV Friday primetime. Maybe another series, but this is the only one I have to go by. He's going to get caught by that traffic here off the corner, and this may give the run to Johan Harth, but he's a little bit too far back to be able to do anything about that green car. Ahead of him is actually deep on the brakes. He tries to go around the outside. That was a brave move there from the driver, the number 5. He may still have an opportunity, you know, coming into the only left-hander on the circuit, but decides not to go for it. Through the camber corner there and out of the corner. He's very, very close as well. He's just gonna tuck inside that slipstream, but that's actually detrimental coming through a corner like that, because it loses all of your front downforce, and corners like that as well, being so close, is going to be a detriment to your front downforce. Passing
here is so difficult, Connery. Johan Harth on him right now. I'm looking at the lap counter. I'm thinking, when can I come on towards pit road?
Usually, looking from past races, we look to see a couple of drivers coming down towards the mid-30s in terms of the lap count. So that's when we'll see the pit window opening. Of course, you know, it would have been forgiven to think that we'd have a long race here, given it's 67 laps. But remember, it's 67 laps of a lap time that is only 40 seconds long. So not that long a race when all things is considered. But Johan Harth, look at him. He's just dropped off the back of Henry Bennett now. Looks like a little bit of overdriving of the car, a little bit of getting too caught inside the dirty air has just pushed him back a little bit, which gives us a little bit of time to look at some of the other battles on track. You've got P number 2, P number 3.
We're just talking about Richard Arnault, and I'm just going to circle it there. Now, we always say a RaceSpotTV logo will give you 2 tenths of a second, but not when it's not in a straight line. So, Richard Arnault right now has got damage to that rear wing, and that's going to affect him all the way through, not only this run, but his pit stop as well.
With the way that rear wing is shaped, does that mean it's an upwards inflection on the spot of RaceSpot?
Yes.
RaceSpot?
RaceSpot.
Oh, it's bent the wrong way to be able to do that.
Yeah, true.
It's an upwards inflection.
Look, I never did really well in English.
I didn't either.
English,
so
do you even? I cannot say the next word.
Hey, this is why I trip over my words when I go to my commentary. I only got like a C in English in my 16-year-old exam, so there we go. But off of that particular topic of how terrible we are at our studies, the race looks to have just gotten a little bit quiet here at the front. You've still got Henry Bennett, Johan Harth battle going on, but it has been separated out. You have to go back as far as what looks to be P number 9 to get cars that are more close together. Actually, P number 10, Liam Quinn, slow over the top of the hill, though. Here comes Arnault down towards the inside. For turn number 6, he can't really pass there, but Arnault manages to do it with the damage to the rear wing. Take a bow.
Yeah, and that was impressive. Replay then coming up for you immediately on board of Richard Arnault. Well, a 30-second replay is pretty much 2/3 of a lap here, but it all starts as they work themselves up the hill. Liam Quinn is ahead, a little bit of dirty air in front of him. They flick it to the left, then flick it to the right, up the hill. You can just see Quinn then, just a back end stepping out on him a little bit. And Arnaud immediately says, thank you, I'm going to go to the inside. Quinn almost runs Arnaud right into the rear wing then, but they both survive it and they carry on. But Arnaud now up into P10.
Very, very close margins. So looks like that damage may not be affecting Richard Arnaud all that much. He's currently down in P number 10. Did start P number 4, of course. So that instant earlier on has brought him down in the field, but still running pretty strong when all things are considered. Looking back towards the front, though, we've got Henry Bennett, Johan Half. They are still separated by what is going to be a good second at this point. Johan Half, after dropping off the back of Bennett just a couple of laps ago, hasn't really been able to make any sorts of inroads over the past couple of laps. So he perhaps has to be thinking now, well, pit stops, try to get the undercut perhaps.
And the undercut here can be so useful because the pit road situation can be so wide. You can come in from about now until about the end of lap number 45. And yeah, tyres aren't going to be a huge factor here today. Have a look at the weather actually, Connery, and you'll notice the fact that it's 87 degrees, so it's hot here today. And that will do some damage to those tyres. And the humidity, 78% is a big factor. Those wind speeds, 22 miles an hour here today, will really affect the balance of these race cars. And being bold, well, that could help you later on.
Ooh, the 11. The 11 has had an issue. I think this is coming out tail number 5 coming up the hill, and it is. The hill has claimed another victim, Olivia Dean. Oh, he just gets very loose, and I don't think that's the first time we're going to see it. It certainly is. Well, it's not. It is not the first time. I think it's certainly not going to be the last time we're going to see that.
Yeah, I completely agree on that one. As we've also got ourselves Richard Arnaud now trying to get up into P number 8 with Gabriel Avredio then right ahead of him as they work themselves down towards the final corner, past the start-finish line, and we are on lap number 31 now of 67 here, Connery, as the cars come through the back straightaway, up the hill, and down towards the second to last corner. Arnaud is putting the pressure on Avredio, but he just can't find a way of getting past just yet.
Not just yet. The run out to the final corner is so important. Maybe a push to pass used as well for Richard Arnaud. Gets himself up into P number 8. So the recovery drive is in full swing for the French driver representing the French team, or predominantly French team of Race Clutch. So P number 8 after starting P number 4 and having had that instant. Not too bad given it's halfway through the race.
Yep. As Richard Arnaud, I would say right now, is having a really good drive, despite the fact he's got himself a damaged rear wing right now as he works himself up the hill again. I will say one thing though, I noticed the fact that that car doesn't put the revs down through that uphill section. That's why that car's not taking off and getting loose, Connery.
Yeah, I noticed it as well. So strategies in play to try to deal with coming over the top of the hill. And right now, the drivers that are out there on circuit are mostly the ones that have got it right. So there we go. Looking back, though, to Miguel Garcia Sanchez and Richard Arnaud. Arnaud is going to be in every single battle we commentate on from this point forward, it seems, because he is absolutely flying on out there on the racetrack, and sometimes literally. Yeah,
but he's also got Kazuki Umeshima, who is only about 3 seconds back on track from lapping not only himself, but Gabriel Avredio as well. So, Kazuki Umeshima, this will be a good time to come on towards pit road. You have a 6-second advantage here, Connery. A pit stop time is almost a lap. This will be perfect for Umeshima to come on towards pit road.
It would be absolutely perfect, but he misses it this time. The driver that has come down on towards the lane, though, is Liam Quinn, the number 7 car. Just goes up and down on the tracks, takes the fuel to the end. Fresh rubber on that car as well, as they have been losing about a second a lap on their fastest lap times at this stage in the stint. So Liam Quinn, between the green cones he goes, and he'll be out there on the racing circuit behind Charles Bacchio there in the number 19 machine. So your first scheduled stop of the day goes to Liam Quinn.
And it's a 9.3 second pit stop. So there's your benchmark. As we've got Sanchez versus Arnaud. Arnaud now up into P number 7. He's really flying.
He's really, really moving. Just showing that rear wing damage does not matter for much. And there's also half a front wing on that machine, at least on my particular system. So, wow, that is a fantastic effort for Arnaud as again over the top of the hill. You see the car just get very, very light, even visually, and you can hear it as well with the revs, but Arnaud able to control that particular aspect of the racing circuit. There's another car that's come down towards the lane. That was Ricky Gerhardt, so she's done her service for the day. And we also see Miguel Garcia Sanchez also decides to come in for his one and only scheduled stop right now.
And Ricky Gerhardt, 10.5 seconds on the lane. A little bit slow for her, as Miguel Sanchez, as we say, is on pit road right now. So let's turn our attention over there. Out and away in 10.5. So again, a longer stop then by Miguel Garcia Sanchez as he now goes past the cones and back up into racing simulation mode. 84 miles an hour on the entrance in towards turn number 1. We'll say one thing. What that does mean is Henry Bennett, in my opinion, has short field.
Definitely looks to be the case. Around about only, well, we'll just round that up to 9 seconds there for what is going to be Henry Bennett. Is actually, there's Zach Campbell down on towards the lane. Very, very quick response here from Campbell. He's going to get his service done. We've also got Richard Arnaud as well down on towards the lane. So this could be a very, very important stop here for Arnaud. I think he's going to have to take the damage.
Oh, yeah,
perhaps,
the damage. You're right. Yeah. I forgot all about that one here, as Zach Campbell is out and away in 9.1 seconds. Richard Arnaud out in 20.9 seconds. That's basically how long they simulate a rear wing change on this IR18.
It is. So, but the thing is, now the scary thing for the rest of your drivers out there is that Arnaud now has an undamaged car. So, make of that what you will. Michele Constantini down on towards the lane for Vortex Sim Racing. His pit stall is pretty much near the front here. Does he tap the wall there? Maybe my eyes were deceiving me.
He almost did, but I think he just missed it.
Engines rev. That was a very, very quick stop there for Constantini. Yeah, that was a very, very quick stop indeed. Actually battles with Liam Quinn coming off the lane, but Quinn will just squeak himself ahead as, well, that wasn't actually for position, but wow, it might as well have been, considering how close it was coming off the lane. But you've got Zach Campbell behind this one, dealing with the lap traffic of Miguel Garcia Sanchez, and Sanchez isn't exactly making it easy for Campbell. We have another visitor to the lane, though. This is Johan Harth now down to get his service done as well. Let's see how fast this stop is, because we've seen some very, very quick stops from your front runners. Let's see what that time says.
8.4.
It's a little bit of a middling, yeah, 8.4 second stop. So he'll come off the lane. Who will he be challenging? There goes Zach Campbell. So Zach Campbell manages to hold what is going to be P number 3 out there on circuit. But here comes Kazuki Umeshima, your race leader, for his service.
Yeah, 9.3 second pit stop there for Andreas Eek. And here comes then Kazuki Umeshima bringing it down onto the lane. Overshoots.
Oh, he misses.
But it's not that bad because he had a 5-second advantage as he came in.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much fuel he takes, in fact. Looks like it's going to be another 8.4 second stop, this time for Kazuki Umeshima, and he's out in pretty much the hugest amount of clear air that I've ever seen so far in the middle of this race. So Umeshima will be very, very happy about that one. We're still waiting for Gabriel Martin Alfredo to head his way down on towards the lane, and we're also still waiting for Charles Bacchio in the number 19 to decide to visit the lane. But with all the pit stops done, we'll just take a very, very quick commercial break here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live.
chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
Hello, this is a generic IndyCar promo for the iRacing Indianapolis 500, taking place on Saturday, the 19th of May at 1 p.m. GMT. No, 5 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Please make sure to watch the broadcast and experience the greatest spectacle in all of sim racing. That's at 5 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on RaceSpotTV and on Facebook Live.
Thank you very much, Will. Fantastic event is the Indianapolis 500. Unfortunately, it is the same time as the VRS GT World Championship round at the Nürburgring, but I'll be able to catch the end of it once I'm done commentating there. But in terms of this one, Kazuki Mishima still leads the way, but the thing is, a couple of things did happen while we were away on commercial break. Richard Arnault, we were watching his charge back through the field after getting damage early on, is unfortunately now out of this event after a single car incident coming over the top of the hill. Car just broke loose, hit the barrier very, very hard indeed. The other thing, Johan Half, P3.
Yeah, we're trying to find Richard Arnault's issue. We're going to try and find it. Here we are, on board with Richard Arnault. We're going to bring this one to you live. And, well, Arnault actually had front wing damage before that incident then, Connery. So he's had front wing damage, rear wing damage, side pod damage, name it damage, he's had it.
Absolutely. He's been in the wars, and that is just putting it lightly. But the thing is, he's met the tyre barrier perhaps one too many times coming off the top of the hill this time. That's put an end to his race. He's already 10 laps down, and it doesn't look like that car is coming off of pit lane anytime soon. So we still have 12 runners in this race out of 19. Let's hope we have 12 runners at the end, but the standings look like this. Kazuki Mishima, P number 1, led from the front, got pole position, is currently in that first position. Michele Constantini started P number 3, running P number 2. Johan Half started 6th, running P number 3. Those are your podium positions right now. Then looking back, you've got Zach Campbell, P number 4. Henry Bennett, P number 5, exactly where he started. Pierre Verne, P number 6, and is also the last car on the leading lap still running. You've got Liam Quinn, P number 7. Gabriel Alfredo, P number 8. Miguel Sanchez, P number 9. Ricky Gerhardt, P number 10. You've also got Andreas Eek and Charles Bacchio. Those are the rest of the 12 cars still running.
Yeah, they are, but Kazuki Mishima, one thing worth noting, he is losing time right now to Michele Constantini, and he has lost himself half a second over the last 2 laps. Constantini now just 1.1 seconds behind Kazuki Mishima. In fact, that gap's going to come down to 1 second as they come in towards turn number 1. Push to pass an operation here, Connery. This could be fascinating towards the end of this one.
has the potential for a grandstand finish if Michele Constantini can bring himself right up to the back of the Radicals Online driver. He has to deal with Pierre Verne right now. Try to pass him before here, but he gets himself caught behind coming through the kink up the hill. Finally, Verne gets himself out of the way, but I think that has lost Constantini on the order of about half a second there. In fact, that's going to be more. Looks like it's more like 0.8 of a second, 0.9 of a second as the relative ticks up and up and up. The gap was 1 second last time across the line. The gap is now 1.8 seconds this time.
It is. It's growing back up again. Constantini losing time. One thing that's worth telling you here, Connery, is that we've just had ourselves another qualifying session for the iRacing Indy 500, and it still remains with Mitch McCracken leading the way, Bradley Walters in second, Rick Music in third, Christian Steele in fourth, and Matt Cook rounds out your top 5. But the last 3 hours of qualifying for the Indy 500 gets very messy very quickly. That's the reason why we haven't got a lot of drivers here, because a lot of them are focusing on getting into the big dance.
Yes, they are, and those final few qualifying sessions are always pressure-filled events. You only have a couple of chances left to get a decent 4-lap average to bring yourself anywhere near that top split event, which you get to race in front of. I think we peaked at around, well, over 1,000 live viewers at one point last year.
You want to know something as well here, Connor? I'm sorry, I just want to say this. Right now, the difference between making the field and not making the field is nothing. Literally nothing. Michael Peters in 32nd place has got a 39.088. 33rd place, Matt Backham, of course, a 2-time winner in this year's iRacing Indianapolis 500. He's got a 39.089. Alex Simpson for Apex Racing UK, the same time. Pas Gergis for the Vortex Sim Racing team, the same time. We talk about the fact that people lose out by thousandths of a second. They're losing out by 10 1,000ths of a second right now.
They are. That's just how competitive the qualifying for the Indy 500 is. But we've had an incident out there on circuit. Zach Campbell has hit the wall coming to the entry to the final corner. In fact, so this was actually the corner before. The right-hander before ran a little bit wide over the grass. Car just snapped back on him. Tried to lock up the brakes, but he couldn't stop before he hit that Armco barrier on his left-hand side.
Yep. Here is the replay. Then on board is Zach Campbell. Just runs wide into the grass. Then you can run that like kind of low curb as much as you want. You just can't really get onto the grass, Connery.
Yeah, the grass really does kill these cars. Even if you get half a tire on the grass, it can just upset the balance of the car, and all of a sudden the car's behaving completely differently on the entry to the corner, and even on the exit of corner as well, trying to get the power down. It just really doesn't like it being on any surface other than the racing surface.
Yeah, Omashima, the gap between himself and Michele Constantini back down to 1.5 seconds. Constantini has gained almost 5 tenths to a second over the last 2 laps with, get this, still 14 laps to go.
14 laps to go, but those 14 laps are going to tick by very quickly, especially for Michele Constantini. Just looking at that gap right now, it's going to come down once again as they head their way across the line from 1.7 to 1.468 for Constantini. So Constantini's just working at this gap lap by lap, and if he catches at that margin over the next couple of laps, he'll be within striking distance in the not too distant future of Kazuki Yamashima, so he can challenge for the race win here on RaceSpotTV Friday at prime time. Of course, he is the championship leader, but I don't think he's won a race in a broadcasted race so far this season. He's just put those very good and consistent finishes in.
Let's have a look at his lap time, though, as he crossed the start-finish line. 1:39.143 for Kazuki Omashima. Slower that time by for Michele Constantini. One may argue here, Connery, that maybe that dirty air starts to affect the car on Michele Constantini, as we are going to have ourselves at the end of this one 11 laps to go. I would say Constantini is just waiting for a mistake.
Yeah, he could well be, but in terms of cars that can help with that, that's not too far down the road. There's Andreas Eek That is a bit of lap traffic that they're going to start to come up on in the not too distant future, definitely before the end of this race, so that could play a factor. We've also got Ricky Gerhardt further down the road as well, but maybe not as congested with lap traffic as Constantini perhaps would have hoped to try and slow Kazuki Umeshima down.
Yeah, as we're on board with Gabriel Martin Alvedre as well, and he was quite close to the rear of Liam Quinn. Liam Quinn today, by the way, I would say it's kind of disappointed a little bit. We know he's going to be one of those names in the iRacing Indy 500 tomorrow, but his road course racing, we've seen being better than this, to be fair.
Yeah, we have. Qualifying wasn't great either. P number 14 on the grid has brought himself back up to 6th though, so that we will give him credit for. But usually you sort of want to see him more at the front of the field like he is on those oval events as well. Over the top of the hill he goes. But let's see what sort of performance he can pull out of the bag in the Indianapolis 500. So that one is going to be coming to you 5 p.m. GMT tomorrow. Don't want to miss it.
And our race coverage is sponsored by Host and Valid Engineering as well.
Yes, we actually have a title sponsor for the iRacing Indianapolis 500. You saw their lovely, sort of pre-roll ads there, which I find is absolutely fantastic. Really gives them sort of professional feel. And well, we could segue into an advertisement of their actual gear there, but I think I'll hold back on that one because we're not Americans.
You say that, but hey.
Michele Constantini. Yeah.
Wait. There you are.
Did you just roll the ad?
Maybe.
I was more doing I was more suggesting maybe doing a product placement, but there we go. We are British. We usually look down on those things, but in terms of our broadcasting, but
I haven't got the little P on the side of the broadcast yet. We need to add that one in one day.
Yeah, you need to have that YouTube thing, which it includes paid promotion thing on the bottom of the screen. So, yeah, we won't be doing that. But in terms of this event that's going on right now, P number 2, P number 1, gap is extending a little bit here for Michele Constantini. So it looks like as this race draws to a close, he perhaps might not be taking home the checkered flag, but still 7 laps to go. Anything can happen in 7 laps, especially actually with the traffic that Kazuki Umeshima is starting to catch. There's Andreas Eek just coming down in towards turn number 1 now. Umeshima not close enough to be able to draw himself alongside, nowhere near close enough to be able to be doing that. And now is Andreas Eek going to be courteous with Kazuki Umeshima, or is he just going to run his own lines through the racing circuit? It looks like he just messed up the exit of the first sector there. And coming into the kink now, Umeshima just has to stay behind, gets caught in the dirty air. Diving out the way goes Andreas Eek, though, actually onto the access road as well. So maybe there's one way, I guess that's one way to try and get out the way of the leading lap cars.
Yeah, indeed so. And I'll tell you one thing of that. Kazuki Umeshima did a great job there. Michele Constantini, though, is 1.2 seconds back in towards 1. Now he has to deal with that lap traffic, and he pushes very wide through 1, turn number 2. 2 questions on YouTube. Number 1 was the question that says, which qualifying sessions are going to stream? Well, the most important ones. We'll find it out. Also, why is there no Pro IndyCar series on iRacing? We had it once. In fact, the first ever World Championship car, Connery, was an IndyCar. Just, of course, with 2 Formula 1 cars, the Williams and the McLaren over the years. They are more advanced machinery, and many people say that gives you more of a test than being a true open-wheel driver. I partially agree, but I don't fully.
Yeah, it's a whole different beast, especially with the electrical systems that are on board. These IndyCars don't really have much in the way of electrical systems. Goes back to what I would say is the sort of mid-2000s F1 level of electronics on board here. Of course, you do have the push-to-pass to be able to deal with it. Gives an extra boost to the engine, but they only get a limited amount of those per race as the traffic's just diving out the way of Michele Constantini, just siphoning his way through the field. But the thing is, the gap is going to be up to 2.2 seconds, so it looks starting to look like a lost cause for Michele Constantini right now, but 4 laps As I said, just a couple laps to go with 4 laps, still enough time for things to happen. But looking back through the field, though, we haven't really got any close battles going on. So it looks like this sort of leading fight, shall we say, or this leading gap that we're watching is the thing to watch for the end.
Yeah, as we've just been having a look at battles going on behind as well. And that one is between Gabriel Arendo and Liam Quinn. That is a battle going on towards the back end of your top 10, P number 6, P number 7. And Connery, we still do have some battles here at Lime Rock. Yeah, the field gets spread out early, but the battles we do get are always fun.
Always brilliant. We saw Richard Arnault earlier take it side by side through a corner. You can't really do side by side in, and that's the corner just after you come off the top of the hill. But he managed to make that pass work, and is anyone going to be that brave this time if they can catch the back of the car ahead of them? But on towards the hill comes Kazuki Yamashima. He has a little bit of traffic to deal with. He has Ricky Gerhardt there, and I think he's going to catch her before turn 1, perhaps. I think I would expect Ricky to maybe lift out, or no. She's just going to keep it going down in towards turn number 1. A little bit too far back is Umashima to be any sort of threat right now. But coming through turn number 1 and turn number 2, Umashima still behind at this stage, just getting caught in the dirty air of the number 18. Just allows Michele Constantini to start to work on that gap once again. Gap down to 1.5 seconds. Gerhardt gets out to the way of the Japanese driver as he heads his way up the hill for one of the final times here in this event. Constantini will do the same as well, heading through that right-hander. But we're going to have 1 lap to go this time. White flag is going to be out on the racing circuit. Gap between Umashima and Constantini will be, as Constantini heads his way across the line, it will be 2 seconds.
It will be, and, well, Kazuki Umashima today, a great drive by him in that Radical 6 sideways car as they are trying to build up their endurance racing and road racing platforms. Umashima, great drive. Michele Constantini, though, I've got to say, he's had a good job as well.
Very good job indeed. So only a couple of corners left now for Kazuki Umashima. In fact, exactly a couple of corners. 2 corners, now 1 corner down the hill, out to the final corner, and the checkered flag will be out there on circuit. Kazuki Umashima will win here. Week number 10 of the iRacing Verizon IndyCar Series. Michele Constantini, P number 2. Johan Harth will head his way across the line for P number 3, and Henry Bennett will be not too far behind for P number 4. And wow, that was a fast and very, very furious event here at Lime Rock Park. But I think it is just about time to go through your unofficial race results. Kazuki Umashima ends up taking the checkered flag when all is said and done, only by about a second there to Michele Constantini. So Constantini on that final lap just tried his best, but his best was not enough. Has to settle for P number 2 after starting 3rd on the grid. Johan Harth with a very good charge through the field as well gets himself P number 3. Henry Bennett, P number 4. Pierre Verne gets himself the 5th spot, and he is also the first car 1 lap down. We have Liam Quinn, P number 6. Very, very good recovery after a poor qualifying. You've got Gabriel Martin Alfredo, P number 7. Miguel Sanchez, P8. Ricky Gerhardt gets herself P number 9 after starting 16th. That's a very good run indeed. Andreas Eek, P number 10. Charles Bacchio, P number 11. And then the rest of your field are all non-finishers. Zach Campbell, P number 12. Richard Arnault, P13. Yuri Baskop, P14. Olivia Dean, P number 15, Kado 16, Arcadia Kono 17, Mark Fangman, P number 18, and Mark Usher will be the final car, not even coming across the line. He's 63 laps down, P number 19.
Yeah, he is indeed, but it's been a great race here today at Lime Rock Park. 2 rounds there, Connery, remaining in this season's championship, and both of them are interesting, of course. Next time out, we go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the penultimate round in the championship, and then Watkins Glen for your season finale. 1 great road course and 1 great oval.
Yeah, and I think that Indianapolis race will be one of the final races that we'll get to see at Indianapolis. 85 laps, around about 212 miles for this series. But of course, we have that huge event tomorrow.
No idea what's going on. What's happening with all the race cars in Indianapolis? Leave it alone!
I better stop mentioning it before Will goes crazy, but I kind of have to mention it because the drivers that are coming into the commentary booth are also running in that particular race that we cannot mention. So without further ado, I think we'll go straight on to Michele Constantini here, finishing P number 2. Michele, fantastic race.
Yeah, I mean, just P2 is like a win when you have a driver like Kazuki in front. Like, in the first stint, it was flying away. Like, I was 6 seconds behind when the pit stop window started, and yeah, I gained a lot of time in the pits. That's because I took quite a bit less fuel than everybody else around me, I think, because like in my head I calculated that with a hotter track I was lifting more, so I was using less fuel, and yeah, I could take less fuel, and I gained like 2 seconds in the pits on everybody, and that helped me a bit staying behind Kazuki for the last stint. But yeah, I got close, but nothing more. He was too fast to get past.
How much was the lap traffic affecting you out there today? Because for some drivers, it didn't seem that the lap traffic was in a hurry to try to get out the way. So how was it for you?
Yeah, actually, it wasn't that bad in the first stint. It's just that when I was behind Kazuki at the end of the stint, yeah, just a bit unlucky. I'm not blaming the guys that were getting lapped. It was just a bad situation in terms of positioning, because Kazuki, I think, got them both in the straight, or actually he got one after the hill and he moved over, and one in the straight, so he got a little lucky with the lapped cars. And yeah, they just didn't fall good for me in good positioning in the last stint. But yeah, overall it was a good race.
You do sing the praises of Kazuki Umeshima, but it did look like you had the pace out there today. So were you thinking at any point that this was possible?
Yeah, I definitely did. Like, when I was catching Kazuki from 2 seconds to like 1.5 seconds, that's when I thought, okay, now I have to push and try maybe to get close, try to put a bit of pressure on him, and just trying to make him do a mistake, staying behind him close. But yeah, then drivers like him, I don't think they feel the pressure. Like, racing in a world championship, just yeah, it's just, I think it helps you a lot with pressure, and yeah, he got it over me today because of that.
Yeah, racing in such big series does really help with the pressure that you're put under on during those races. But we do have to bring the discussion now to the big 500. How's your preparation? How's your qualifying?
It's a 500! Oh my god, it's my 500!
Oh my god!
Well, yeah, the qualifying week has been crazy. I mean, we have 33 drivers in half a tent. The qualifying has just been crazy. Currently, I think I'm P8. I haven't checked the results now after while I was doing the race. So I don't know if I lost some spots, but before the race I was P8, so qualifying P8, I would not have expected that, actually. And in race terms, I think we can still work on that. I mean, still have 24 hours to prepare something better, but yeah, overall I'm feeling confident and I'm super hyped for tomorrow.
I think pretty much everyone is, and I know someone that's with me in the commentary booth is definitely ready and raring to go.
You mean Henry Bennett, don't you?
I do mean Henry Bennett. Hello, Henry Bennett. Well, hello. P number 4. We were just talking about a certain race that's happening tomorrow, but in terms of this one, it seemed like a very good run for you out there. Qualified P number 5, finished P number 4. How was it?
I was a little disappointed with my qualifying. Made a mistake on the second lap, and I know I could have gone faster. And at this track position's everything. So from 5th, I was a little worried about how my race would go. But 4th, I can't complain really. I didn't have the pace of the top 3, so and I got lucky. Inherited a pace from Zach. Reasonably happy. But Michele getting good points in second does mean I get set back in the championship slightly, but there's a couple more rounds to go. So,
yep, there is, and only 2 more rounds to go, so you can't afford to fall that far behind. But You finished in a little bit of no man's land there at the end of the second stint. You were about 15 seconds off of Johan Harth. You were a good amount ahead of Pierre Verne as well. So for the end of the race, were you just coasting home at that point, knowing that battles around, well, you weren't near any of them?
Yeah, this track, you don't need to be near anyone to end up in the barriers. Just hitting a bump wrong or getting on the accelerator too early can throw you off into the barriers, like we saw with some of the other guys. So yeah, I was just taking it easy, just bringing it home, because there's over a 10-second gap in front of me. I was never going to catch Johan, and he was slightly faster than me anyway. So yeah, after the pit stops, there were a few lap cars that had accidents in front of me, so I had to slow down. That lost me a load of time. So yeah, just really bring it home from that point on. Speaking of dealing with the track, that hill. We saw so many drivers get loose. We saw so many incidents over the top of that hill today. How are you dealing with it? I was absolutely fine with the hill. You can be full throttle until you hit the crest, then you got to lift. If you keep full throttle over the crest, when you land, the car's gonna be spat out into the barrier. So just lift. For me, the last corner was the scary one because of the high track temperatures. Got the line slightly wrong, you could slide wide, hit the bumps, and you'd either be thrown out to the barriers on the left or span into the barriers to the right. So that was the place I had to be careful today. Yep, those bumps on the outside of the final turn can be very, very treacherous, shall we say, if I get my words right. But Will, you're standing by with Zach Campbell.
I am, Zach Campbell, P number 12 here today. Zach, well, not the best result you've had here in the iRacing Verizon IndyCar Series, but you do, you had yourself an issue. Talk us through that one.
My issue the entire time was about the track temp. My setup was really geared towards us having probably like partly cloudy 78, somewhere around there. And once I saw partly cloudy 85, I knew my qualifying set was probably going to be about as good as I was going to get, because the race set, I messed up about 1 every 3 laps, just trying to, 1, get to Michelle, and then 2, recover from my mistakes, and it just all kind of compounded, and the issue I had in the second to last corner.
Of course, this is one race in what is a big weekend on iRacing this weekend. Of course, iRacing Indy 500 tomorrow. Did it tickle your fancy?
We'll see.
We'll see. I like responses like that, Connery. We'll see.
We will see, as we do have, 2 extra guests here in the commentary booth. We have Mr. Christopher Demerit.
2017 iRacing Indy 500 champion, Mr. Christopher Demerit. I'll have you know, Connery.
Sorry, I tend to get titles wrong, and that's one that I've gotten wrong as well. So there we go. It was a very close finish last year in the Indy 500 for you, Christopher. Are you looking to be the? I'm going to answer this for you. You are looking to be the driver that's, the first driver to win more than one Indianapolis 500. But how's your progress towards that goal right now?
It's definitely going to be an interesting one. We're probably going to be starting from pretty far in the field. Broken Arrow guys haven't had as much time as we're used to work on the car, but we still have something that we feel is good for a race. So hopefully we'll be slicing through the field during race tomorrow and up to the front.
I'm going to stop you there, Connie, because of course we've got a pre-race shows coming up in about 15 minutes here on RaceSpotTV.
Spoiler alert, that's why I'm
here. So don't give it away just yet. But Randy Chunov is here as well, Connery. Let's be honest, Randy hasn't quite made the field. So those that can't teach. Those that can't race, they commentate. Right, Randy?
Takes one to know one, Will.
Hey, I've done one. You've done one.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is true.
I loaded the wrong setup into my car, so I basically had a qual setup.
Basically, me and Josh did the same thing, because the guys at Broken Arrow and Power Slide whatnot, or not Broken, Anchi and Power Slide whatnot that we're working with, they sent us the setup and they didn't tell us what to do with the ARBs. So Josh and I just found out we've been qualifying on the wrong in-car settings all week.
Oh, fantastic. But what's we got you here, Connery? Of course, tomorrow you're on VRS duty. It's 6 hours. 6 hours of the Nürburgring. And I mean, we talk about the Indy 500 being the biggest race in all of sim racing, but this VRS GT World Championship is one fantastic series. Of course, got title sponsorship by VRS just a couple of rounds ago, and they've done a fantastic job in marketing the series to start with.
Yeah, they really have, and we are very, very appreciative of all the work that they do, and actually the service that they provide to many, many race fans out there in terms of the telemetry data that they offer, and also the data packs as well. But in terms of the championship, we do have Pure Racing Team Red currently leading the way on 198 points. But the thing is, the championship is so close. 4 points behind is Team 33, and so is FA Racing G2 Logitech G. And then 2 points further behind that is going to be VRS Kindness Sport number 8. So very, very tight for the top 4 in the championships. Could still go either way.
Can I tell you a little story about Commander Sim Sports?
Tell me a little story about Commander.
They never thought that they were going to have Matt Backham winning a round in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. What they did is they promised him that if he ever did, he would get a pink car. So for the iRacing Indy 500, Matt Backham is running a pink VRS Commander Sim Sports machine. I have seen it. It's amazing.
I haven't seen it quite yet, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. It's going to stand out in the field if he makes the field, but oh boy, would it be worth it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's your broadcast, Connie. Wrap it up, boy.
It is. We're going to go very, very quickly in the not too distant future, about 5 minutes or so, to the Indianapolis 500 preview show. But that is all we have time for here today from Lime Rock Park. Round number 10 of the iRacing Verizon IndyCar series. Kazuki Umeshima came out on top. Constantini P number 2. Johan Haaf P number 3. And we'll see you in just a couple of minutes for the Indy 500 pre-race show. That is going to be Will Vincent and Randy Cheneth bringing you that one. I see a little bit of a Jake Sperry down in the office there, but I don't think you'll be joining us. But see you guys tomorrow for those big races.